has a population of over 7 million people. The country, in its post 11 years of brutal civil war, has been working to uphold a safe and peaceful nation. Despite the strides made by the ruling government to bring free quality education and the fight against corruption, things in recent times are becoming a little unsettling as political tensions, lawlessness, crime rates are on the increase. Is this threatening the peace and security of the country? Well, join us now as we take the views of people in free time.
Well, the current peace and security of the country, we thank God for the President, His Excellency for his caring about the country. But he needs to put more modalities in place. He needs to put more security on the street, because you will be walking on the street and the thieves will just come from nowhere and drag your phone in your hands or whatever you have in your hand or harm you. So he needs to put more things in place. He needs to do more.
The country peace and security not stable. They're not very stable because we agree today tear gas, tomorrow we fed, so we're not glad for that. Because we list pass episode is the feds, the scatter, the Pueblo issue.
Waiting happen at the country because we go and scared, but thank God now because we know the security they don't alert. Security they don't alert so now and things they go normal. All man they go about in business, all man they go about any trade they do. So we tell God thank you for that. But the only prayer they pray, let God church president, let God church back the minister then, even when they work today, let God church the after they work for we fine at the country. Lord, we get peace, more peace at this country in Jesus. And I pray I don't know more day for you. By the grace of God in Jesus.
As for now, the peace and security for the country, you don't get problem.
They say peace of Sierra Leone is fragile. Fragile because every day you see things that are happening that are not expected to happen. For God's sake, we are all Sierra Leoneans and we are supposed to at least foster the peace of this nation. But we realize that people have some kind of personal interest more than the interest of the nation.
Many believe that the intensity jeopardizing peace and security in the country is politically motivated. Even though it is crystal clear that present-day society cannot exist without the police, yet, on many occasions, they have been accused of unprofessionalism in enforcing the law and their duties to protect life and properties.
Nobody wants to get a failing mark, even though this is not a failing mark. But say, for example, if you've been somewhere within the classroom setting and you always occupy the first position or the second position, you wouldn't want to be fifth or fourth, even though that is a passing grade. So what I would say is, policing or security itself is dynamic. It's not something that is static. Sometimes you are faced with certain situations. You have no alternative. You have to apply the appropriate means to resolve them or to get them settled, and then in the process somebody else will grade you differently. But I would say, if I should refer to the Global Peace Index, I have to assure people that it's a matter of time. We will continue to improve. Not that we are far away from where we are. We are not far away from where we were. But the fact remains, we moved from a certain position to another position, and I want to assure people that we're gonna go back where we were, and possibly we're even gonna improve and overtake some other countries who are before us.
National cohesion is one of the visible impediments still problematic that the government of Sierra Leone needs to address through open performance contracts and having objective criteria for recruitment and dismissals devoid of regional, political or tribal differences. Teddy Fode Musa is a lecturer for peace and conflict studies.
I think there are two types of peace we have. There is negative and there is positive peace. I think what we are thriving on now in the country is what I would refer to as a negative peace. meaning the guns are silent, but the issues that are creating the tension that could roll into a conflict are still hovering around, and we are still having a box at them. So I think we have a negative piece. We need to work towards transforming that into a positive piece. And what is this positive piece? The positive piece is the situation we are in. The guns are not only silent, but the things that will trigger war are actually addressed, and that will roll out from different phases, from the component of good governance, from the angle of human rights, from the area of civil society activism being encouraged, and all of this.
The Office of National Security coordinates activities of the security sector institutions to ensure a joint government approach is adopted in addressing issues relating to national emergencies and security of the states and its people.
We're experiencing currently in Sierra Leone. We are in level 1. There is normalcy. People are going about their normal activities. You and I can stay out as long as we want. But that does not mean that the country is entirely 100% peaceful. Yeah? When we talk about a peaceful and tranquil environment, there are other factors you take into consideration. There might be few protests. There might be economic, or there are economic hardships, of course, because when we are talking about a peaceful society, you've got to look at the delivery of the human security services. Do people have access to justice? Do they have access to economic opportunities? Do they have access to educational opportunities? Is there freedom of speech, freedom of association? Yes, there is freedom. Yeah, but you see tidbits of protest here, there are disgruntlement. Let's don't forget that we ushered in 2018 after the general elections. There were skirmishes, of course, even to accept the election results. So since that time, we've been having series of, clashes between the two dominant political parties, so to speak, and other relevant political parties, especially the ones that are represented in parliament.
It is evident that political violence and intimidation are increasingly becoming part of the country's pre- and post-electoral processes, and just recently, the 2019 Global Peace Index report shows that Sierra Leone slips 18 steps lower from 34th in the world to 52nd in just a year.
So when it comes to peace, it's a question about the self. Do I feel peaceful to live in Sierra Leone? And I think when a number of people describe peace as the absence of war, I mean that's the extreme, definition. No, there is no war. But then, do people feel as if they are living in a society where they can exhibit their full potential? Are there restrictions when it comes to enjoying the rights of individual? Are there restrictions around security? What about livelihood? Poverty is one of the things that brings the human, so you are not at ease when you are poor because you cannot access the basic of facilities. So they are varying dimension. It's not just about conflict, but we have livelihood issues, and also there are indicators around climate change. How these consequences affect the human being in terms of living. When you say you are peaceful, it's both a psychological, emotional, and material issue. I feel peaceful. So there's strong perception of peacefulness.
For political violence and instability to be minimized, people must be patriotic and put the interest of the country above all political differences and encourage national inclusiveness and participation.
Sierra Leone hasn't got problem with cohesiveness when you look at it in the strict sense of the word. We've been experiencing challenges in our cohesiveness in this country when it comes to politics. But I will tell you, if you go now to Kenema, you will see people from the north trading and doing their business perfectly well. You go to my village now and let's say you are coming from the north, you go to my village and you have a reason to pass the night in my village, you will definitely have a room provided for you by the chiefs. You come to the north also. I have been to the north on several occasions. I think I have actually enjoyed my stay in the north. So we are not a country that is not accommodative to certain group of people when they find themselves in the other area that is not similar to the cultural practices of their own area. So I would really want us to know that as a nation, we are cohesive. We do accept our tribal differences, our cultural differences, but at the same time also, we accept the thread that runs through us as Sierra Leoneans. We actually accept that reality. And that is why the Mende will actually comfortably live in the northern part like Makeni, Podloko, and Tonkolili. You go to the Kenema, you find the Temne, Limba people actually living comfortably there. We only have those challenges when we are faced with politics. And people think that they should divide the country on tribal lines in order to be able to amass voting population around themselves by preaching tribal message. But one of the things we have to do, or we have as a government to do, is to ensure that in spite of the wrong picture certain people actually paint in order to be able to stifle the development programs of the country, we are not limited by those negativity. What we do as a country and as a government is to ensure that we distribute the national cake evenly, and at the same time ensure that we take development programs across the country, because no matter how much tribal message you try to preach in order to amass a voting population around your party, development programs will actually deconstruct that pathway, that negative pathway of dividing the country in terms of amassing voting population.
Society is constantly challenged owing to power struggle and inequality, as there is high competition for dominance and recognition.
Well, for us, we know that there is nothing to write home about as a political party, and I believe the ruling government has admitted in their own action that there is no peace and stability in the country. I am saying so because President Ahmad Tijan Kaba, may he so rest in peace, ruled us for 11 years. And you will bear witness that he did not need a Bintu Mani tree. Dr. Anes Bai Kuroma came and ruled us for 10 years. He did not need a Bintu Mani tree. And in a very controversial election that was won by His Excellency the President of the Republic of Sierra Leone, Brigadier Julius Maada Bio, suddenly we need a Bintu Mani tree. And you and I and the public of the Republic of Sierra Leone know that post-election Sierra Leone 2018 was replete with unprecedented violence, and that is targeted violence at Northwesterners and people who are perceived to be APC, and that is really, really not good.
For peace and security of the country to be strengthened and sustainable, it seems evident that acceptance of defeat is one option, and the other side must refrain from any form of intimidation and provocation.
There's no place like home. Why do you want to spoil that home? Why do you want to damage the national cohesion of what is supposed to be your own home? What platform are you setting? That once you are finished in the diaspora, you want to retire home peacefully. And there are some of you who have projects already to come down here. Do you want to come and build your factory here? On top of those hate messages that you push out, please be the Sierra Leonean. Let us hang on to our national pledge. Let us hold on to the verse in our national anthem that says put her interest all above else. Let us put our political interest above all of this.